Hi everyone, my name is Tara Westwell and today is Tuesday, which means it's time to discuss our book of the week, which is Redemption by Jack Jordan. First, this is a spoiler-free section, so if you haven't read this book yet, don't worry about it, it won't be spoiled for you here. There will be some spoiler-related things that I want to discuss, but that'll be later on in the video and you will get plenty of warning. If you'd like to join in on any of the book discussions, send me your thoughts, comments, or even a short video clip of you discussing the book, then I'll list the next upcoming 4 books in the description below. So I rated this book 3.5 stars, which kind of feels like a conflicting rating for me because for the most part, I really enjoyed it, and in fact, I was tempted to rate it higher. I think that the concept was really strong, the emotional weight was there, and the ending was genuinely impactful, but there were just moments where I found that I was getting bored, moments that I found myself thinking the book just didn't need to be as long as it was. I just think that if the pacing had been a little bit tighter and maybe with like a ticking clock kind of momentum, then this could have easily have been a 4-star read for me. Okay, so a quick summary. Redemption follows a woman who, for the last 10 years, has been consumed with grief, bitterness, and revenge after a traumatic event. It's a psychological thriller about long-term vengeance and the consequences of holding on to that anger for too long. It's a character-driven thriller that explores trauma, justice, and whether or not revenge can actually bring peace. If I had to compare this to any other book, I would probably say that it sits somewhere kind of alongside Freida McFadden, maybe The Crash, although while I will say that this book is still accessible and easy to read, it's not quite as fast-paced or twist-heavy as a typical Freida McFadden thriller. In fact, it focuses more on, I'd say more on emotional depth rather than the shock value. This is going to sound really weird, but one thing that surprised me about this book was that I enjoyed it as much as I did. Because to be honest, I usually need at least one strong, likeable character to latch onto. There just aren't any ridiculously likeable characters. They're all very deeply flawed in very realistic ways, just not in ways that made me like them anymore. And yet I still really enjoyed the book. And I think that in itself is impressive. The concept is compelling, and I appreciated how emotionally heavy the story felt. It was sad, it was uncomfortable, and there were moments that were genuinely moving. I really enjoyed the ending. I thought that it was done in a way that was really satisfying but not overly polished. I also often struggle with multiple POVs, but here it felt necessary, it worked really well, and it just added to the tension and perspective rather than feeling like it was taking anything away from the story or distracting from it. So as for the question, would I recommend the book? Yes, I would, especially if you enjoy revenge-driven thrillers with morally grey characters, then I think that this one is worth picking up. Just don't go expecting something that is super fast-paced. It's definitely more reflective than frantic. So will I be reading any more by Jack Jordan? Yes, absolutely. Despite my pacing issues with the book, I enjoyed it enough that I'd definitely read more by this author. I really enjoyed the emotional weight and the ending. So earlier on in the video, I said that you get plenty of warning for any upcoming spoilers. Now this is that moment, so if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going doing that first, because beyond this point there will absolutely be spoilers. So let's talk about this revenge plan, because 10 years, 10 years of bitterness and anger and, my god, preparation and training. While I appreciate the psychological build-up, for someone who has dedicated so much time to this mission, the execution was not as airtight as I would expect. Like, yes, she is physically capable and she is determined, and that tooth-pulling scene was genuinely disturbing and very well written. It showed just how far she's willing to go, and I was cringing throughout that whole scene. But at the same time, some of the practical elements just kind of felt slightly chaotic. Like, I kept finding myself thinking that if you've waited this long, I feel like you should be able to anticipate some of the variables a little bit better, like things that could go wrong. Like, 10 years is a very long time, and I just feel like it would have been executed better. That being said, I did appreciate that the story didn't feel overly dramatic or unbelievable. It felt grounded, emotional, and fitting to the story. Even though I do kind of feel like if someone has spent 10 years with revenge on their mind, then you're not just going to be able to change their mind. Like, psychologically, I feel like that would mess you up enough that there's just no way of talking you out of it like the husband planned. Overall, I think that Redemption is a thoughtful, emotionally driven thriller with a strong concept and a satisfying ending. For me, it wasn't perfect, like it could have been tighter and it could have had faster pacing. However, it was still able to hold my attention even without any really likable characters, which says a lot. But if you've read it, let me know what you thought. Did the pacing work more for you than it did for me? Next week, we'll be discussing Book Boyfriend by Lucy Vine, so don't forget to get your thoughts and comments in by Sunday the 8th of March at the latest to be part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Discord. The following week will be Nectar of the Wicked, but don't forget if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list the next 4 books down below along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you, and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's always appreciated, and I will see you next week. Bye! If you like romance, fantasy, or even thriller, basically anything fiction book related, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. We announce books at least 4 weeks in advance, and we accept your bookish feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send me a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message.